All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the update for Module 6. Okay, a couple things real quick. First one was the video. The AI in action video didn't get posted like I wanted to. So it's posted now and it's in your presentations. In that AI in action, I go over a simple vibe coding example and also the PowerPoint, how to do an AI PowerPoint. Hence, this is where some of the other issues have come up. So the video is now posted, but here's the big issue that we have this week. The in trying to create that PowerPoint, first I just used my own AI accounts, no issues, had no problems. However, one of you reached out to me and mentioned you were running into context window problems. You're running into your daily limit issue with the free AIs and trying to complete the assignments this week. And I'm wondering, well, how, unless you're a heavy user, how could that happen? Well, I went to the free account, tried to create that PowerPoint, and sure as heck, it it runs out of window. So it runs out of context window and runs out of that daily limit. Even with trying to do like 6 slides, I could not do that. So I did some research, and it was basically because it's very image intensive and you're doing design versus text or coding, you tend to burn through that daily limit very quick. So here's what we're going to do. This class doesn't require any paid subscription accounts. So with that, we are not going to require the assignment, the module assignment this week, the one at the end for 75 points, not required for this week, module 6. If you did do it, great, thank you. It will be extra credit. You can apply that extra credit for something next week if you want to, or just have it to be over the top points. I think most of you are doing really well in grades, so maybe you don't need the 75 points to avoid getting a B. But if you wanted to avoid maybe one of our other assignments next week, you could just swap those 75 points out if you did it, or you can just skip it altogether this week. So again, I do apologize for that. I was very surprised that I could not get those PowerPoints to generate whatsoever. Now, in the AI in action, I do fire up my paid accounts, and I show 3 different techniques for creating those PowerPoint slides. One's in Claude. One is actually within PowerPoint itself, with now has Copilot and Claude integrated into it. And the other one is called Gamma, which creates really great slides. All have a little bit different bells and whistles and features. So you may want to watch that just so you can be aware that someday you'll probably have a paid account, and that you could, one more thing that you can do with AI that can save you time. Okay, so there is that. So I think we've got hopefully, again, I do apologize for that. I was hoping that we could knock out those slides, but it was just not going to make it with a free account. All right. The other couple of other things I wanted to do in the AI in action, but really those videos were running kind of long, is I want to introduce it a couple of things. So I thought I'll just do it at the end of our update video. So we'll do that right here, right now. And one of those, the first one I wanted to talk about is the 10 question prompt technique. And I've been using this quite a bit over the past 3 or 4 weeks. I saw, one of the YouTube channels I follow mentioned it. And I thought, that just saves even more time. One of the themes that we've talked about in this class is iteration. That's where the AI produces something, you recommend a change, you go back and forth. I mean, the human in the loop, that's where the value that you come into all of this. And that's where I think, that's where the product, you hear about AI slop. That's where there's been no human in the loop, where it's just AI slop. Where it becomes really, truly amazing product is where you are iterating back and forth and creating a better product with the AI, far better than what the AI could produce itself, far better than what you can produce. Together you produce this, a work that's can be pretty special. What can save time on that iteration is really getting your own idea refined. That's the hard part. How do you refine your idea? Well, with the 10 question prompt technique, you can even cut down on that iterative cycle even more, or even help you refine whatever you're doing. And I mean, it could be, I mean, it's literally anything. It's kind of based off of something called the Socratic method, where people, and I was like, wow, that really makes sense. Of course, they were doing this 2,000 years ago when Socrates came up with this method, but it's the same thing where you're asking a series of questions and you're answering those questions and refining your idea as you go along, but you're using the AI to do that. So I'm going to show you that real quick. We won't go through every one of those 10 questions, but let's take a look at that. So let's pretend here, for example, and we'll just minimize my circle here. We'll stick with the vibe coding thing. So let's say I wanted to vibe code an exercise app, and I don't know where to start, but let's use the 10 question prompt and let's see what it does. Hi, I'm thinking about creating an app. I want to start exercising and I want to do, weightlifting or kind of resistance training, but I also want to do cardio. Um, can you ask me 10 questions to kind of refine that process before we get started in building the app that we can use as a base to kind of begin our vibe coding? Oh, why did it say five? I always like sometimes my voice to text doesn't work too well. Vibe coding. Let's make sure we got that right. Always a good idea to check it. It looks pretty good. All right. Good. All right. Let's see what it does. Oh, I love how it brings out these little boxes here. Okay, great. All right. So that seems, what do I want to do? General fitness. Yeah, let's go that. That's a good question. I mean, some of these things I probably would have thought about after we produced the app. And I would see like, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to exercise 7 days a week. Let's be able to fix that. Maybe 4 days a week. Oh, that's okay. So what do I have? I do not have a membership to a fitness commercial gym, but let's just say I've got limited home gym equipment. Oh, it's going to do rounds of questions. So see, there you go. So it's going to go through these 10 questions. It can be 5 questions, it could be whatever, 20 questions. But again, it's getting me to think about things that initially when I was just kind of verbal diarrhea saying, I wanted to create an exercise app, I didn't think about all these other parameters in here. Now, would I have gotten there? Yep, as we were going back and forth, but this was a much better base to help me kind of clarify my idea. So 10 question technique, use it for everything. And I think it will just uh, start the process on better footing. All right, so there's that. The other thing I wanted to show you was Napkin. There's all kinds of these little AI tools that pop up, but Napkin's one that I use frequently, especially with the theme this week was presentations. So what Napkin does a great job at is creating like little infographics like you see here. For in one of the PowerPoint presentations that I created was on the history of SpaceX. And let's say if I was doing a PowerPoint presentation and and the AI really wasn't getting a, maybe the sophisticated kind of infographic or, I guess even any kind of graphic at all that I wanted, I would come to Napkin and then I could actually snip this out and then put it in my PowerPoint. So I think and I've used this multiple times to really get a better image. So let's try a new one. They call them napkins because, maybe you've heard like, these great ideas written on the back of a napkin, because you're at a restaurant and you have an idea for $1 billion company and you write it on the back of a napkin, or an idea that, revolutionizes the world and you write it on the back of a napkin so you don't forget. All right, so we're going to do paste my text because I've already, imagine if I've written a report, a very simple report on telemedicine. So I got a very off screen, I got a very simple, I don't know, maybe 200 word report on telemedicine. And I'm going to copy that. Let's say you're writing a report for school, and you need to drop a graphic in there. Actually, for my dissertation, I needed a graphic, so I used Napkin to create one of those. It was very helpful. All right, so we're gonna do. All right, so let's get my paste in here. It's not pasting. Oops. Maybe I didn't copy it. Hold on 1 second. There we go. All right. So my little simple report on telemedicine, and it scans it and it produces these little lightning bolts. This is where the AI is suggesting like, hey, I can do something with this paragraph. So let's do this one. Let's see what it comes up with. What kind of napkin it's going to produce on this. Very interesting. All right, so this one was about the telemedicine visit process. You have different formats that you can do. Um, yeah, very cool. Schedule an appointment, complete intake forms, connect with the provider, receive instructions. Let's see what another one would look like. Let's do barriers to adoption. Hmm. Oh, this one's kind of cool. I like that one. But yeah, you can do all kinds of styles in here. That's neat too, the little knots. I'm not so sure about the cactus, but I do like this one because it actually shows like barriers and an arrow going over it. That would look great inside of a PowerPoint. So I think these are just additional little AI tools to have in your AI toolbox. Napkin, Gamma, especially since this theme was supposed to be about making a PowerPoint presentation. Those are ones that can help, help with that process. All right, that is it for this week. Everybody have a great rest of the week. And next week, module 7, that'll be our last module for the class. So hang in there. You're almost done. Thanks.